Okay, guys, so here's your assignment for today. Excuse me, we're going to do the SpongeBob genetics. So here we can read through the directions. All right, and I'm going to kind of walk you through each one so you know exactly what it is that you need to get full credit for the assignment. So for number one, it says for each genotype, so here's a bunch of different genotypes here, okay, the two different forms of the allele. And you just need to indicate whether it is heterozygous, okay, by putting a HE, or if it's homozygous, okay, an HO. So let me get my pen over here. And we're going to do the best we can with this here. I'm trying to draw with a mouse. So we're going to take a look here. So here we have capital T, okay? Two of the same forms of the allele. Excuse me. So obviously this is going to be homozygous, so HO. All right. Actually, that's homozygous dominant. So let's go to the next one. We have capital B, lowercase b. Okay. Here we have two different forms of the allele. Excuse me. Sorry. So when we have two different forms, okay, it's heterozygous. So for this one, we're putting HE. All right. And you're going to do the same thing for all 12 of these that are listed. So which of the genotypes would be considered purebred? Okay, we know that purebred is a synonym for homozygous. Hybrids is the same as heterozygous. So we would have capital T, okay, that's a purebred. And the other one we did here, capital B, lowercase b, that would be a hybrid. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for all 12 of those there. So now we're going to determine the phenotype being physical characteristic for each of the genotypes, okay, in the using the information provided about SpongeBob. Okay, so here it tells us that yellow body color is dominant to blue. Okay, so these geno and phenotypes we're going to use down here in a little bit. So Bob has the genotype capital Y. We know yellow is dominant to blue, so his body color would be yellow. That's pretty good for using a mouse. So here it gives us capital Y, lowercase y. Okay? Again, yellow is dominant to blue. What would be Bob's body color here? I'll let you figure that one out. And then it gives us lowercase y. So homozygous recessive, yellow body color dominant to blue. What would be the body color here? Let me click out of my pen and move down a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, for the phenotype, square shape is dominant to round. All right. So let's do this one here. So we have lowercase s. Okay. So homozygous recessive, square shape is dominant to round. So Bob's body shape would be round. Okay. It's the only way that we're going to get that recessive phenotype is getting two recessive forms of the allele. All right, so number 3, for each phenotype, give the genotypes that are possible for Patrick. Okay, so in some cases, there are 2 possible genotypes. Excuse me. So here we have a tall head, represented by capital T, is dominant to a short head, lowercase t. So what genotypes would give us a tall head? Okay? So hopefully you've identified capital T, capital T. Okay? Two dominant forms of the allele definitely going to give us a tall head, right? But heterozygous, capital T, lowercase t, that also gives us the genotype tall head. I'm sorry, the phenotype. The only way we're going to get the recessive phenotype, the short head, would be lowercase t, lowercase t. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing with pink body color is dominant to yellow. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing here. All right, here's where it gets fun. Okay, we're going to get into some word problems. Figuring out, okay, again, the genotype for, in this case, Bob and Susie, and probability and genotypes, phenotypes, if they had children. All right, so really important here that you guys understand, there we go, and pay attention to how to do this. If you take your time and work through these and read and write down information as they go, okay, you're going to be it'd be a lot easier for you. So I'm going to take you through how I recommend doing this. So number 4. Okay, so SpongeBob SquarePants recently met Sponge Susie Roundpants at a dance. SpongeBob is heterozygous for his square shape. All right. So the hint the first tip I'm gonna give you is when you get information, okay, that's pertinent to your problem, underline it. So here, SpongeBob is heterozygous for his square shape. All right. So right here, I'm gonna write Bob. And Bob's heterozygous for his square shape. I need to scoot back up here. Square shape. So we're using S here. All right. So this is where we're getting the information for that. All right. So Bob, we said was, I wish that would have stayed up. Sorry. Bob is heterozygous for his square shape. So we're going to put Bob up here, heterozygous. And, okay, we'll keep reading. Sponge Susie is round. The only, excuse me, the only way that she can be round is if she has 2 recessive forms of the allele. All right, so we know Bob, heterozygous, so capital S, lowercase s. Susie, two lowercase s's. All right, so let's put our Punnett square together. The S is tough because sometimes you you don't you got to write the lowercase s a lot smaller than the uppercase. So I wish this would stop disappearing. I don't know how to make it stay longer. All right, so we're going to go straight down. Okay. Capital S's, lowercase s, and then we'll go across, lowercase, 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 lowercase. So we went down and then across. So the possible genotypes and phenotypes for their children. Okay, you should still have it written down. Oh, I don't know what that is. So we had capital and lowercase, and that would give us a square, right? Okay, so we had that. And then the other genotype we had was 2 lowercase s's, and that would be round. Okay. If you remember, okay, we had capital S, lowercase s here, capital S, lowercase s here. Okay, so the chances of a child with a square shape, 2 out of 4, 50%. These two boxes, 2 lowercase s's, okay, also 2 out of 4, 50%. Okay, so again, make sure that you have all that information. And I understand it went away when I was doing the examples. Well, let me try and use this. This might work better for us. All right. I'm going to put it back up so it'll stay. We know that Bob. Come on, circle. Bob, heterozygous. Okay. I took that from here for a square shape. Susie, was round. So she was 2 little s's. Okay. We'll put our male here. Come on. That's a small s. Oh. All right. Capital, lowercase. Dang it. I'm trying to make this little s, and it's not. There we go. All right. I just had to go away. All right. Now we're going to go across. Hey, now we got it. All right, that's what it's supposed to look like. So, possible genotypes and phenotypes. We know we have our capital, right? There's a possibility of a heterozygous, and that would give us a square shape. And then we have our 2 little s's, 2 recessives, and that would give us a round shape. Okay, so we know each square represents 25%. Child with square shape, so we know this would be square, this would be square. 2 out of 4. Let's see here. 50. And our round shape, hey, this would give us a round shape. This would give us round also. Same thing here. 2 out of 4. And 50% also. All right. So hopefully that helps. We'll go down here. I don't want to do the entire activity for you, but I'm going to give you a head start on number 5 as well. So let's look at number 5. Okay, so Patrick met Patty at the dance. Both of them are heterozygous for their pink body color. So if we go back over here, okay, this is what we're going to use for number 5. They're both heterozygous for their pink body color. So we're using capital P for dominant and lowercase p for recessive. So that's what we're going to use here, all right? As again, it gives you a hint, read question number 3. Okay, so underline, both of them are heterozygous for their pink body color. And that is enough information for you to complete number 5. Okay, so there's 4 sheets. Okay, there is, if you look up here, SpongeBob Genetics 1, page 1, there's a genetics page, there's a SpongeBob Genetics 1, page 2, and then there's the second part, Genetics 2, page 1 and page 2. So all 4 are required for your assignment, and again, you need to include all this information to complete it correctly. If you have questions, post them in the under the video, and I'll try and help you out through the messenger on Edmodo. All right. Hopefully you guys have some fun with this. This is pretty enjoyable. So it shouldn't be difficult, and it should be kind of fun to try and figure this out. So again, if you have questions, post them underneath in Edmodo.